This video is brought to you by these YouTube members. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. Hello everyone and welcome to the top 10 heart characters on Bleach Brave Souls. Now it's been a while since I've done one of these and we have so many great heart characters that I could make a separate top 10 list for the remaining characters and they'd all still be great. Unfortunately that's not how this works and there's only enough room for so many characters, so even if you don't see a character on here, it doesn't mean they're not good, it's just that I ran out of room and we have that many great heart characters. As always, keep in mind this is my opinion. If you disagree, that's fine. This is the internet after all. I'm entitled to mine and you're entitled to yours. With that said, let's begin.
悪ガキには地と球を据えてやらねばなるまい。行くぞ。
Now I'm actually going to do things a little bit differently for this character because he is so new and only a PvP character. That's not to say you can't use him outside of PvP since he does have a really high attack, flurry, poise, and bruiser at 20%, but most of his abilities are catered toward PvP, and I'm not really a PvP player. So because of that, he's not really going to be a part of this top 10, he's just kind of on a separate category, but I didn't want to talk about the Beyond Bankai Yamamoto. Quick disclaimer, I was originally against calling them Beyond Bankai, since a lot of the characters we're going to see didn't really show off their Bankai, but the description of the character, if you click on their image, literally says a power Beyond Bankai, so we're going to roll with it. Plus, it's faster than saying spirits are forever with you. Alright, so like I said, this character has a really high attack and can dish out a lot of damage. He can also take it thanks to a 16% damage reduction soul trait, and if he were to go down, he immediately comes back up, thanks to his last ditch survival ability. In addition to that, Yama can also inflict debilitating burn and weakening with all of his attacks, and despite not having that high of an SP, he does have a plus 50 berserker and decent range on his strong attacks, so it's not like they're useless. This Yama is also completely immune to being both drained and weakened, but that's as far as his PvE abilities go, since everything else he can do is PvP specific. He can prevent Brave Battle healing, meaning any damage dealt stays dealt, and he also completely ignores Brave Battle invincibility, which is awesome. It's gonna make things go a lot faster. In addition to that, he also has Brave Battle invincibility for 10 seconds. That said, it'll probably go away if your opponent is another Yama. Topping things off, he's got a Stern Ritter Killer, which is really only useful in PvP, every now and then in Senkaimon and maybe Arena mode. I hope you guys don't mind I took this guy kind of off the official list, because he's Brave Battle specific. It just felt weird placing him above or below anyone else on the list, since not everyone in the player base actually participates in PvP.
覚悟し合うよ。地獄そうじゃ。逃がしはせんで。
Alright, actually kicking things off is the Spirit Society version of Lisa, who has a really high SP as well as Frenzy and Berserker at 20%. In addition to that, she's got an ability that increases the amount of damage that Heart Soul Reapers deal to any enemy that's inflicted with the status element by 20%. And it's very likely she's gonna benefit from this, because all of her attacks can inflict the status element. Her normal attack, strong attack 1, and her special all inflict debilitating freeze, and her strong attacks 2 and 3 can inflict debilitating weakening. Her strong attack 2 in particular is very likely to inflict the weakening because it's a crawling vortex, and one with pretty good range along with the rest of her strong attacks thanks to her Havoc being at 20. It increases her full screen strong attack 3 to beyond full screen, and makes her beam shot strong attack 1 even better than it already was. This Lisa's also a potion drop character, and to top things off, she's also completely immune to being frozen herself. Honestly, she's a very versatile character. Her strong attacks 1 and 3 provide speed, while her strong attack 2 provides crowd control and a good out against bosses. Combine that with the ability to inflict 2 different status elements, and you've got yourself a great character.
そろそろ理解できたか。K は私を切るどころか近づくことすらできない。
Next up, we have the arena version of Biakuya. Now, I really like this design for Biakuya. It's my favorite one aside from the manga one, so I'm really glad we got a remake of him. He's got a really high SP as well as Frenzy and a strong attack damage link. He's also got a strong attack recharge ability and can inflict debilitating lacerate with all of his attacks except for his strong attack 2, which is a barrier move. In addition to that, he's also able to inflict Lacerate just by existing thanks to his ability Lacerator, which has a chance to inflict Lacerate to any enemy nearby. Combine that with a strong attack 1 that hits multiple times, and you're very likely to inflict Lacerate, which is great for this character because he has an ability that increases the amount of damage he deals to lacerated enemies by 40%. And that's across the board, whether it's his normal attacks, strong attacks, or special. Now Biakuya has Havoc at 20, meaning his strong attacks have great range. Like I said, his strong attack 1 hits multiple times, his strong attack 2, in addition to being a barrier move, is also also a hybrid vortex move, and his strong attack 3 is beyond full screen. These attacks and any other cannot be stopped thanks to his poise ability, meaning that the only way to actually stop this character is to paralyze him or take him out, because he's completely immune to being frozen. He's a great character who shines even more in arena mode, where he gets an extra use of his special, long stride, and because he has a strong attack recharge ability, ends up getting strong attack recharge at 90% by himself, which is honestly great for any character, but especially a barrier character.
行くぞこのビッグウェーブを乗り綺麗だな
Next up, we have the swimsuit version of Rukia, who has a really high SP as well as Frenzy, Berserker at 20, and a 14% strong attack recharge link. Rukia can inflict debilitating paralysis on all of her attacks, and she's very likely to do so with her strong attack too because it's a hybrid vortex move. One that we really haven't seen before if I'm not mistaken. If I am, I'm sure someone will correct me in the comments, but it gathers enemies in one spot and then hits them a high number of times, kind of pushing them back in the process. It's a really weird strong attack that kind of made placing this character a little difficult, since it does have great range, but it's kind of centered on her. Speaking of range, all of these attacks have great range thanks to her Havoc being at 20, and that pushes her full screen strong attack 3 to beyond full screen. This Rukia also has guard break, meaning these attacks will always deal the max number of damage, but more importantly, it means you can use your normal attack to beat people with the banana without worrying about them guarding it. And is that not what this game is about? To top things off, this character is also completely immune to being both burned and poisoned. Honestly, I have to do a few more experiments with that strong attack too. It does have a high likelihood of inflicting paralysis, but I can't really tell if it does radial damage similar to the strong attacks that have a 160 mag. I don't know, maybe someone can tell me in the comments.
てめえが何だろうと構わねえ。俺の前に立ち塞がるなら食い殺すまでだ。
There was a time, many moons ago, where heart normal attacking characters were extremely rare. In fact, for the first 2 years of the game, the only one we had was Shui. This Shui, the really old one. Though I do love that design. Now things are drastically different now, as you're gonna see. And the heart attribute has some of the best normal attackers in the game, including the Camp for Your Own World version of Jiao. This character's absolutely nuts. He's got a really high attack as well as a plus 40 bruiser, flurry, and poise. In addition to that, he's also got guard break, so, you know, guard break. And he has the ability to hit hidden enemies, completely freeing up that slot in his accessories. This effectively means that not only can enemies not guard from him, but they also can't hide, which is great because he has a Soul Reaper killer and those guys love to hide. This makes this Jiao one of the best characters to auto with, and fastest. He's also a very safe bet because he has a damage reduction soul trait of 20%. Stack this up to 80%, and it's gonna be very hard to take him out. At the time of this recording, he is currently a filler in the round 2 anniversary summons, so count yourself very lucky if you end up pulling him.
挽回不死の向上捧げるさ俺の血と命をな。
Next up is the Camp for Your Own World version of Shui. Now this guy is just the ideal character. He has a really high SP as well as Frenzy, and Berserker at 20%, so he is going to deal a lot of damage. He's also got a strong attack recharge link, meaning he can spam his attacks, and they have Havoc at 20, meaning their range is increased. His strong attack 3 is beyond full screen, his strong attack 2 is a hybrid vortex move that gathers enemies in one spot before hitting them one final time, and his strong attack 1 is a lunge move that now has improved range. All of these attacks have a chance to inflict debilitating weakening, and his strong attack 2 is very likely to do it because it's a hybrid vortex move. To make things even better, this Shui also completely nullifies melee resistance, letting you take them anywhere or wrong cards out of the enemy, whether they're able to resist melee attacks or not, greatly increasing his usability in both Senkaimon and guild quests. I called him the ideal character earlier, and the reason I did is because in my opinion he's got one of the most fun and usable kits. That's not to say it's the best one. I mean, you've seen some of the ridiculous characters we're getting. It just has great range, a high likelihood of inflicting weakening, and deals solid and consistent damage. And in the end, that's all you really need.
お前になら全力で戦っても良さそうだ。バカだ。
Next up is the Fierce Battle version of Kanpachi, and this guy is on a whole other level in terms of damage. I've talked about him many times. He has a really high SP as well as Frenzy and Berserker at 40%. In addition to that, he's also got a strong attack damage link of 25%, increasing his own strong attack damage by 65% before Frenzy. To put that in perspective, the new artwork Ichigo that we got only increases his own strong attack damage by 60% before Frenzy. Now he's got weakening and a whole lot of other stuff going for him, so we're not even going to compare the two, but that's really just to give you an idea of just how much damage he deals with his strong attacks. And they get even stronger after he uses a special. This is because for 30 seconds he transforms, and his strong attacks go from being a 120 mag to a 150 mag, increasing their damage. Not to mention that he instantly gets his strong attacks back after this transformation happens and when it ends. This Kanpachi also has poise, meaning these attacks cannot be stopped, and he has great range on these strong attacks despite not having Havoc. He's got a full screen strong attack 3, a beam shot strong attack 2, and a lunge move strong attack 1. His normal attacks are also usable because he has a plus 40 bruiser, and their magnifications also increase with this transformation. Kenny also has the ability to hit hidden enemies, also freeing up that accessory slot, and once again being convenient with that Soul Reaper killer. While we do have many Kennys in this game, I feel like this version of Kanpachi was one that really needed to be remade. The OG power one that we had really didn't capture the power of this Kanpachi displayed in the manga and the anime. This one absolutely does.
行くぞ一号月が天章
I honestly feel really weird placing Zangetsu this high up, since he didn't make that much of a splash when he came out. I mean, he was a premium character, he was a remake, and for the most part people skipped this banner. But to my surprise, he's actually a really good character. He has a really high SP, as well as Frenzy, Berserker at 20, an ability that increases the amount of damage Heart Soul Reapers deal with their strong attacks by 20%, and inflicts 20% more damage to weakened enemies, which he can do with all of his attacks. This means that he always increases his strong attack damage by 40% before Frenzy, and if an enemy's weakened, this becomes 60%. Now, I honestly believe the reason this character was largely overlooked is because he does have some kind of generic and basic strong attacks, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, generic just means good range. They're just not very flashy. He's got a full screen strong attack 3, and a strong attack 2 hits a large area in front of him. His normal attack is a lunge move, and like I said, all of these attacks have a chance to inflict debilitating weakening. This version of Zangetsu also has an Arankar killer and can read Arankar dodges. He's completely immune to being both burned and frozen, and he's got an additional sprinter, letting him dodge enemy specials way easier and finish quests a lot faster. I really like Zangetsu as a character, and I'm really glad there's multiple versions of this character in this game. I just wish this one was a little bit flashier.
仕えしすぎて天外まとい万象等しく映し削らん遠羅経典
Next up, we have Tokinada. Now obviously this character was going to be in here. Whether or not people get mad that he wasn't placed at -1 is yet to be seen. I don't know what it is about this character. People just really like him and get upset if he's not at the very top of the list. But number 3 is as far as he gets. Now don't get me wrong, he is an amazing character. He's got an extremely high attack, as well as a normal attack damage link of 25% and bruiser at 20%, increasing his own normal attack damage by 45% before flurry, and he's got a boost move with enhancer that increases his attack defense and focus by 33%, increasing the amount of damage he deals with his normal attack even more. This character also has really good strong attacks despite not being a strong attacking character. He's got Berserker at 50% and they all have great range. He's got a full screen strong attack 3, his boost move strong attack 2 is also a hybrid vortex move that gathers enemies and pushes them back, and his strong attack 1 is a beam shot. To top things off, he's also got a transformation special that increases the amount of damage these attacks inflict and lets him be able to freeze with his strong attack 1 and burn with his strong attack 3. This special also inflicts weakening, though keep in mind that none of this is with debilitator. Like Kanpachi's special, this special also brings back all of these attacks immediately and increases the magnification on his normal attack, but it only lasts for 30 seconds. Tokinada also has guard break, which is great for a ranged character, and he's completely immune to being paralyzed, which is great because he has a Soul Reaper killer, and those guys love to paralyze. He's a really fun character, and one that honestly deserves all the praise that he gets, but sooner or later every king gets dethroned. Ladies and gents, may I introduce to you Tokinada's Dethroner. Masaki is just an insane character. She's got a really high attack, as well as a plus 60 bruiser and a normal attack damage link of 20%. This means that she inflicts 80% more normal attack damage before flurry. Masaki also has a boost move strong attack 2 that increases her attack defense and focus by 33%, meaning these attacks can hit even harder. In addition to being a boost move, this move is also a barrier move, and it greatly increases the durability of this character, assuming enemies ever have a chance to hit her anyway. Not only do her attacks hit insanely hard, but she's also got guard break and the ability to hit hidden enemies. That combined combined with the fact that she's a ranged character means that there's a very good chance enemies won't ever get to her. And even if they do, there's like a 50% chance she's gonna have a barrier up. And even if she doesn't, thanks to her poise, she can attack them while they're attacking her. Masaki also has a 50% berserker, meaning her strong attacks also deal a decent amount of damage, and she's completely immune to being frozen, meaning that with the poise, the only way to really stop her is to paralyze her. This is probably the only Masaki we're ever gonna get, unless they start doing seasonal manga characters, so I'm really glad they ended up making her this good. Now, like I said, the heart attribute is filled with a ton of great characters, and I couldn't put them all on this list, or all in the honorable mentions. I mean, I even had to go out of my way to add an extra slot for Yama, who I couldn't justifiably not put in here. Anyway, here are a few other characters that almost made it onto the actual main list. Maybe I should start doing top 20s.
我々も全力を尽くすほかありません。波動の88、飛竜激毒新戦来砲。
無月これで分かっただろ。波動の31シャッカー砲
挽回ようやく臨月だよ。金色足そぎ地蔵また一分招待。
わらわは仕事が早いのが売りでな。千寿丸の名は伊達ではないぞ。
落ちてゆくがいい。惑い乱れて砕け散れ。
Okay, so during last week's top 10, I did a whole 3.5-minute segment on this character, so I'm gonna try not to go as long this time around. But at number 1 is the character you all suspected, the 6th anniversary version of Eizen. Now this Eizen not only has the highest SP in the entire game right now, but also has Frenzy at 2, meaning each of his strong attacks hit 3 times as much. This means that any multiplier this character gets applied 3 different times, including the full stamina damage ability he has that increases the amount of damage he deals by 20% as long as his health is full. And it's very likely to be, since all of his attacks have a chance to inflict both weakening and drain, and with the sheer amount of times they hit, they are very likely to do so. His strong attack 1 is a beam shot with ridiculous range that hits 9 times, his strong attack 3 is beyond full screen and hits 12 times, and his strong attack 2 is a seeking vortex move that hits an insane 78 times, pretty much guaranteeing you're gonna inflict a status ailment assuming the enemy isn't taken out. His attacks have great range thanks to his Havoc being at 20, but to be honest, he would have probably had great range with them even if he didn't have it. Eizen also has the ability to hit hidden enemies, and he's got the ability Sharpshooter, which is basically guard break and nullify range resistance in one. They also gave this Eizen both a Soul Reaper and a Captain Killer, increasing the areas he's extremely useful in, and they gave him the ability to read Soul Reaper dodges. Topping things off, they also made him completely immune to being paralyzed, and that's where I draw the line. You want to give him 2 status ailments? Fine. Give him Frenzy at 2? Sure, I'll allow it. But make him immune to being paralyzed? Are you trying to make him a deity? Now obviously this is the least impressive thing about him, but it is actually a very useful thing to have, since he's got a Soul Reaper Killer, and like I said earlier, those guys love to paralyze. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe to the channel. If you think this list is wrong, that's fine. Paste your own in the comments below, or spend 5 hours of your life creating your own video like I just did.